Welcome to Permission to Thrive. I'm your host, Suzi Lula. As a spiritual therapist for over 20 years, I have the honor and privilege of ushering women and mothers just like you on a journey from simply surviving to powerfully thriving. I also have the honor of raising our son, Will, who is now a young adult, with my longtime partner, Jamie, so I'm right there on the journey with you. Consider this your personal sanctuary, your space to meet your heart, embrace your messy, and come home to your most authentic, extraordinary self. My hope is that you leave resourced and inspired because you are here to shine. Welcome to Permission to Thrive. With addiction in some form. So this episode is for all of us. It's a highly complex and layered subject, and my intention today is to provide a different take on addiction, perhaps share some ways of looking at addiction and relating to addictive behavior that you might not have thought of or been exposed to as of yet. So, sit back, relax, and receive all that is here for you today around the subject of understanding and healing of this very complex and layered theme of addiction. So let's start with the definition of addiction. Webster's Dictionary, basic place to get a definition of addiction, says that addiction is exhibiting a compulsive, chronic, physiological or psychological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity. So the characteristics are that it's compulsive. It's a chronic physiological or psychological need for some kind of habit-forming external substance, behavior, or activity. So I want to break that down into two parts. The part around compulsivity, the chronic nature, the compulsivity, the inability to control it, to stop it, to not do it. And then the other place that this definition references is that it is a need. So I'm going to talk and start with the compulsive aspect, and then we're going to go to the needs. So a way that I define addiction, in very simplistic terms, is that an addiction is an inability to sit with dark, painful emotions, an inability to sit with something that is painful. When we experience an inability to sit with something that is painful, an inability to be present with something that is painful, an inability to connect with a painful, dark, intense part of ourselves, we will then reach externally to try to soothe the pain. So if I don't know how to internally soothe my pain, I'm going to reach to something external to try to soothe my pain. Very simple, not very easy to shift around sometimes, but it's very understandable. If I don't have the practice, the tools to sit with something that hurts inside of me, to soothe something that hurts inside of me from the inside out, I'm going to reach to something external. If I don't know how to say, oh my gosh, I see that you're hurting, I'm going to reach for something that I think can take away the pain. So my definition, simple definition, addiction is an inability to sit with something that is dark, something that is painful, something that is intense, and thinking that those emotions, that darkness, that which I am unable to sit with, that pain is real. I'm thinking that those feelings are real. I'm thinking that those feelings are indicative of who I am, who we are. When you think that that painful feeling is who you are going to try to resist, suppress, push away that feeling, you're going to want to reach for something that's going to take away that feeling because it feels so awful to think that who you are isn't okay. Who you are is in pain without the practices and the tools to soothe that pain. So addiction is a behavior that is born out of thinking that something is wrong with you. So I'll say that again. Addiction is a behavior. It's a way of coping. It's a survival mechanism or survival skill. You create a survival self. It's a behavior. It's an action that is born out of thinking that something is wrong with you. So if I think something is wrong with me, that's a terrible feeling because it's not true. Nothing is wrong with us. But when we think something is wrong with us and we don't have the tools to sit with it and soothe ourselves and restore ourselves to our natural state of wholeness, if I cannot restore myself to my own natural state of wholeness, then of course I'm going to reach to something external that can help me soothe myself, that I think is going to restore me to the state of wholeness that I am seeking. In our culture, addictive behavior is shameful behavior. So if you or someone you know is addicted to a substance, to a behavior, it could be something as simple as food or video games or something like cutting or an eating disorder or any kind of substance, drugs that are here to try to soothe you, that is seen in our culture as shameful. We try to hide that. If I, as a mother, am experiencing with my child, for instance, that they are addicted to something, that's shameful for a mom, that's embarrassing for a mom, because in our culture, we've labeled it as something's wrong. And when we experience something being wrong, we try to hide it. And so addiction becomes something that lurks in the shadows because we're taught that it's bad and we're taught to keep it a secret. Anything that is shameful, we're going to keep a secret, we're going to keep in the shadows. And when something stays in the shadows, it has a lot of power. And so addiction can become a very powerful form of trying to soothe something inside that hurts because we put this shameful layer and label on it. And so therefore it stays in the closet, it stays in the dark, it lurks in the back corner. We don't talk about it as a culture. We keep it to ourselves because we judge it or we have been judged because of it. Our culture doesn't have a loving, kind relationship with addiction. We have a judgmental relationship with addiction. So anything that we judge is going to stay closeted. And so if you or someone you know is experiencing addiction to the degree that you yourself are keeping it closeted, or if someone in your life is experiencing addiction and to the degree that you do not feel comfortable talking about it, is to the degree that it's going to have power over you, over your family, over that individual. So one of the first things that I wanted to do in this particular episode is for anyone and everyone who is experiencing addiction, either yourself or someone that you love, someone that you know, is to recognize that not only is it not shameful, it's so understandable. It's so understandable that in a world, in a culture that doesn't teach us how to sit with something that is painful, of course we would reach to something external to soothe the place inside of us that's in pain, to soothe the place inside of us that feels hurting. It could be something as simple as I reach for something sweet to soothe a place inside of myself that feels soured. If I feel hurting, I'm going to look for something to take away that pain. So the first thing that I want to share is that we as a culture judge this behavior. If today, any way that you have been conditioned to judge yourself or another, in the world of addiction as being shameful, if you can release that layer to the degree that you are willing to release that layer of shame, is to the degree already that you are healing. Addiction can be something seemingly so small, something seemingly so simple. Like I said, it could be a sugar addiction. You reach for something sweet when you are feeling lonely. You reach for something external when you are feeling alone. You reach for something external when you are feeling self-judgment, isolated, lonely, avoid, like something's wrong with you. So it can be something simple like a sugar addiction. It could be something like a self-judgment addiction. I'm going to judge myself before I experience you judging me. So a form of protection, an addiction can be a form of protection, self-protection. I'm going to judge myself. I'm going to sabotage myself before I allow you to hurt me. I'll hurt myself before I'll allow you to hurt me. It could be something more overt, like drugs, like substances. It could be something like cutting. It could be a food addiction. It could be binging to try to fill a void. To the degree that one feels a void inside is to the degree that one might binge. So it's both the compulsive nature. I can't not do this. I can't stop. I have no dominion. I have no control. This thing has a life of its own. So it's the compulsivity of not being able to not do it, and it's the severity of the external means, whether it's something like sugar, like binging, like overeating, overextending. It could be shopping. I'm overextending my budget. I'm indebting myself. I'm reaching for shopping. I'm reaching for material items because I mistakenly think that those material items are going to soothe the place inside of me that is hurting. So I get into debt. It could be cutting, drugs, substances, video games. Clearly, most of our adolescents and most of our youth are addicted to video games, addicted to scrolling, addicted to the phone. All of these are external. There's nothing in and of itself wrong with a phone, wrong with social media in and of itself, but it's the addictive nature of that because of this inner void and because our culture doesn't teach us how to be with our feelings of that inner void, aloneness, isolation, loneliness. We don't know how to be with the loneliness. And therefore, our next generation, our kids, our adolescents, they don't know how to be with their own sense of loneliness, their own sense of isolation. If you don't know how to sit with your own sense of isolation, your 13-year-old is not going to know how to sit with their own feelings of isolation. We all experience a feeling of separateness, isolation, aloneness. When we know how to be present and soothe that pain, we won't need to reach for a substance or reach for a behavior. So the second part of this that I want to speak with is the word and quality of need. We all have needs. Some of the needs that we have are to be loved, to know that our life matters, to know that we're important to someone, to know that someone's face lights up when we walk into the room, to know that we matter to someone, to know that someone accepts us as we are, to know that we are acceptable as we are, that we are worthy, that we are deserving. So these are our needs. We have a need to feel attached, to feel connected. These are needs. They're not wants. They're not light desires. It's not, it would be nice if I felt attached to something or someone that reflects back to me, mirrors back to me my sense of worth, the feeling that I'm here for a reason, the knowing that I matter, the knowing that I am here for a purpose, that I have something to bring and to share and contribute, that I have gifts within me. that I am here to give and to share. So we all have needs, and addiction is trying to get those needs met through outside external means, trying to get a need met that you have through some kind of external means. You're trying to meet an internal need through some kind of external means. So if you're trying to get a need met, that implies right there that there is an unmet need within you right now. So I'm going to say that again. Think about this. If you ever find yourself reaching for something to the outside and you are trying to get a need met through this external means, through this external behavior, through this external substance, what that means is that there is an inner unmet need within you that you're trying to meet. So this is very important, and this is the key to addiction. We all have needs, and to the degree that we have an unmet need within us that we do not know how to fulfill ourselves, we will reach to something externally. So let's just say you have anxiety and you don't know how to soothe that anxiety. If you don't know how to soothe that anxiety, you might reach for pot. You might reach for food. You might reach for alcohol. You might reach for a video game. You might start scrolling. You might start shopping. You are seeking to soothe the anxiety within you by reaching for something external. That's very understandable, because if you don't have the tools to do it yourself and you don't have someone that is capable in your world of listening to you, or you don't feel safe enough yet to call someone, you're going to reach to something external. If you feel anxiety, if you feel like your life is out of control, you might start trying to control your food. You might binge and then control. You might deprive and then control. So to the degree that there's something in you, a need that has been left unfulfilled, unmet. So let's go back to our basic needs. Your basic needs are to feel loved, to know that your life matters, that you are here for a purpose, that you are valuable, that you are beautiful, that you are a treasure, that you have gifts that you are here to bring, that you have a purpose for being here, that you are not here by accident, that you are important to someone, that you are unique, that there's not an accident about your life. You have a need to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You have a need to know that you are acceptable and lovable exactly as you are. You have a need to know that you are worthy, that you are deserving, that you are abundant, that you are connected, that you have a life force that is important, that you're not here by accident, you're here for a reason. You're here at this time, for a reason. You are here to be a contribution on earth. And if and when those needs inside of you have gone unmet and you don't know how to meet them, you are going to reach for something to soothe the pain of an unmet need. If your need is to feel like you matter and you feel like you don't matter to someone, you're going to experience pain. And if you don't know how to fulfill and meet your own unmet need, and if you don't know how to soothe that pain, you're going to reach to something that will help you soothe that pain. So this attachment, this need for connection, to know that we matter, that you are acceptable and lovable exactly as you are, those are basic human needs. And when your basic human needs aren't met, you're going to experience pain. And if you experience pain and you don't know how to soothe your own pain, you're going to look for something that can help you soothe your pain. It's so understandable to me why we end up with individuals with addictive behaviors. So addiction is the inability to sit with the pain of an unmet need. When you have an unmet need, that creates pain. If you have a need to know that you matter and you think you don't matter, if you think something's broken within you, if you think you are broken, if you think something is wrong with you, that is going to create pain. And addiction is the inability that you have to sit with your own pain of the unmet need. Addiction is the inability to meet your own unmet needs. So I'll say that again. Addiction is the inability to meet your own unmet needs. So you seek to meet the needs through external substances and behaviors. The external means could be shopping, video games, numbing out, scrolling, yelling, self-sabotage, cutting, eating disorders, food, shopping, drugs. This next part is very important. The dopamine hit that you receive is then what you are addicted to. So shopping, playing a video game, scrolling, it's going to give you a very immediate but very temporary dopamine hit. When I reach for sugar, that sugar gives me a false, short, temporary dopamine hit. And then what happens? I become addicted to the dopamine hit. So what you need to hear, and this is the key to understanding and healing your own addiction, is that when you learn to meet your own unmet needs, which I'm going to explain to you right now, when you know how to meet your own unmet needs, you create your own inner dopamine hits. And when you learn how to create your own inner dopamine hits, you will never need to reach for something external again. Now, culture and a capitalistic society does not want you to learn how to create your inner dopamine hits, because then you're not going to go buy pot. Then you're not going to go shopping. Then you're not going to need to buy the next video game. You're not going to need that capitalistic culture that tells you you need that outside thing to feel enough. Because what I'm getting ready to teach you is that you can create an inner dopamine hit and an inner dopamine rush for free. It's within your dominion. You can do it right now, and we're going to do it right now. And when you learn how to do that, you are free. You are liberated. You are unencumbered. You are encumbered to no one and no capitalistic society. You are able to give this and do this and provide this for yourself. So let's dive in to this part of understanding and healing, the healing part of addiction. Because meeting your own unmet needs creates that inner dopamine, serotonin, and mostly oxytocin. So I'll tell you why that's important. When you meet your own unmet needs, it's like learning to mother yourself. And think of a mother animal with her baby. And if you are a parent, if you think of any mother with her child, when a mother loves her child, the mother secretes oxytocin in her body. And when the child is loved, the child experiences oxytocin in their body. So once you learn how to do this for yourself, you don't need to reach to the outside. So how to meet your own unmet needs, how to create your own serotonin rush, your own inner oxytocin. So what we aren't taught in culture is how to become your own mother. We have a cultural, global mother wound because of the generations of toxic patriarchy. So we're not going to go into that in this episode, but I will tell you that it's key and it's important. To the degree that you have been affected, and we all have, by a toxic patriarchy, a toxic generational patriarchy has robbed our culture of the mother, of the feminine, of the being. We're doing to the detriment of the being. We are disconnected from our being. We are disconnected from our souls. We are disconnected from our ability to nurture and nourish, our ability to mother in the truest sense of the word mother. So what you aren't taught is how to become your own mother. What you aren't taught is how to mother yourself. What you aren't taught is how to mother the pain within you, how to mother the places inside of you that hurt. And just like a mother mothers and nurtures her baby when they're hurting, the baby feels soothed. And so addiction is reaching for a pseudo mother. Addiction is reaching for something to try to mother you, to try to create that soothing feeling with oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin, these energies inside of ourselves. When we don't know how to give it to ourselves, we'll reach to something to the outside. So learning to meet your own unmet needs, learning self-compassion, self-connection, self-love, connecting with your soul, learning the language of true soothing. If you have anxiety right now, if you have a compulsivity right now, if you're worried about something right now, if you learn to soothe yourself, you won't need a substance. So learning the true voice of the feminine, learning what real self-healing is, self-soothing is, self-compassion is, self-connection is, to really learn to mother yourself, nurture yourself, nourish yourself is going to provide you freedom from needing anything externally. So meeting the unmet needs within you, when you can meet your own unmet needs, that produces the same dopamine, the same serotonin, the same oxytocin that the outer external means, outer external substances and behaviors produce. When you learn how to mother yourself, you learn how to create your own oxytocin experience, and then you don't need anything from the outside. Okay, you ready? What does mothering yourself look like and sound like? So it begins with an awareness of, oh, honey, I see that you are hurting. So let's say you're feeling anxious. Let's say you're feeling overwhelmed. Let's say you're feeling powerless or hopeless. You're feeling dark. You're feeling some kind of intense emotions. The first thing is the awareness that you're feeling the intense emotions, the awareness that you're feeling dark. Oh, honey, I see that you're feeling dark. Oh, honey, I see that you're feeling pain. I see that you're hurting. I see that you're feeling overwhelmed, tired, exhausted. I see that you're feeling hopeless and powerless. I see that you're feeling like you're not enough, like you aren't important. I see that you're feeling invisible. Oh my gosh, I see that you feel like you need validation. Ah, honey, I see that you feel like you're broken. You feel like something's wrong with you. I see you. I see you're hurt. I'm right here with you. I see you. I'm sorry you're hurting. I'm right here. So the first thing is the awareness and the acknowledgement. I see that you're hurting and I'm right here. Already that is calming. Already that is soothing. Already just in those few sentences, dopamine is being circulated through your body, through your nervous system, right then, just by saying, oh my gosh, I see that you're hurting. I see that you're feeling not enough. I see that you're feeling powerless or overwhelmed or exhausted. I see that you're feeling furious or frustrated. I see that you're feeling stuck in this hamster wheel. I see that you're feeling beaten down. I'm so sorry. I'm right here. I'm with you. I see that you're hurting. I see your pain. I'm sorry you're hurting. I'm sorry you're in pain. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. So the first thing is awareness and acknowledgement. And the second thing is creating safety. I see that you're hurting. I see that you are in pain. Bring it to me. I'm right here. My heart is open. My heart is safe. You are safe with me. Bring me your pain. Bring your pain to me. I'm not afraid of your pain. I can handle your pain. Your pain is safe with me. Your hurts are safe with me. I love you exactly as you are. You don't need to change to be lovable to me. I accept every part of you. Bring your anxiety to me. Bring your overwhelm to me. I'm not afraid of your overwhelm. Your overwhelm is not too big for me. Your feelings are not too big for me. I'm right here for you. I'm not going anywhere. This is what mothering sounds like. This is what mothering feels like. Mothers, what do mothers do? They are aware. They are accepting. They are acknowledging. I see your pain and I'm right here for you. What do mothers do? Mothers create safety. Your feelings are not too big for me. I can handle your feelings. You want to become the mother to your own pain. You want to say, as a mother would say, your pain is not too big for me. I can handle your pain. I'm not afraid of your pain. Bring it on. Bring it to me. Just try it right now. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling bullied and you're feeling small and you're feeling not enough and you're feeling run down and you're feeling pushed under a bus, you're feeling frustrated, whatever it is you're feeling, you say to yourself right now, bring it on, bring it to me, bring it to my heart. My heart is bigger than my pain. I'm not afraid of your pain. I'm not afraid of my feelings. I'm not afraid of dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. Bring it on. Put it right here in my heart. My heart is so large, it can contain all of your hurts. Bring it to me. I'm right here for you. I've got you. I've got you. I'm your biggest supporter. I've got you. That's creating safety. That's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. It's going to take some practice because culture hasn't taught you this. Culture tells you go scroll, go buy something, go eat something, distract yourself, push it away, submerge it, suppress it, resist it. I say bring it on. Bring on all your hurt. Bring your pain to my heart. My heart is so big. It's so large. Bring all your hurt. It's right here. You're safe with me. That's what mothering sounds like. And then the actual part of mothering, once you've created the safety, the mother says, it's so understandable that you would feel exhausted. It's so understandable that you would be feeling anxious. It's so understandable that you would be feeling overwhelmed. If you're a mom with a newborn, it's so understandable you're feeling sleep deprived. You're feeling like you're doing nothing right. If you're a teenager and you're feeling anxious and you have tests or you're being bullied, it's so understandable that you would want to run into your room and hide. It's so understandable that you'd want to get into your bed and pull the covers right over your face so you don't have to face anyone. It's so understandable. A mom sees, a mom knows that it's so understandable based on the experiences that you're going through, based on the past, based on the family that you came from, based on what you're learning in your life. It's so understandable that right now you would be feeling hurt, that you would be feeling pain, that you would be feeling dark, that you would want to run away, that you would want to reach for some sugar, that you would want to cut yourself, that you would want to hurt yourself. It's so understandable that you would want to, and so understandable that you would have those feelings. It's so understandable. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Your feelings are safe with me, but it's so understandable that you're having the feeling for the behavior, the feeling of checking out, the feeling of reaching for something. But I want you to know I'm right here. Tell me all about it. And then here's the heart of the mothering process. Here's the heart of how to meet your unmet needs. You have to first identify what is it inside of you that is an unmet need. So you ask yourself, what did you most need to receive that you did not receive? I want you right now, take a moment, take a breath, ask yourself right now, what did you most need that you did not receive? I promise you, you will get an answer. I needed financial support. I needed financial education. I needed financial soothing. I needed the soothing and the knowing that I was secure. I needed to know that I was secure. I needed to know that I was enough exactly as I was, even if I didn't play the piano, even if I didn't win a piano contest, even if I didn't graduate early. I needed to know that I was enough, even if I didn't produce. I needed to know that I was not my accomplishments, that who I was enough, beautiful, radiant, brilliant. What did you need to know? What did you most need that you didn't receive? What did you wish somebody had been able to say to you, to do for you, to provide for you? What do you right now most wish that someone had been able to give you, provide for you? Whatever that is your unmet need. So connect with your unmet need. Get it clear. And then you say to that unmet need, I'm right here. I'm interested. I intend to fulfill that unmet need. If you needed to know that your voice mattered, that you were important, then you say to yourself, I'm right here. I'm going to fulfill that for you right now. I'm here. You're not in the past anymore. I am going to rescue you, and I'm going to bring you into my current heart right now. So you just ask, what do you need from me? What can I give you? What did you not receive so that I can give it to you right now? I'm rescuing you from your past, and I'm bringing you into my current heart right now. And I am providing for you what you didn't receive back then. This is the heart of healing an addiction. An addiction is seeking to get something from the outside that you didn't receive. So we need to understand, what didn't you receive, and how can I give it to you from the inside out so you don't have to try to get it from the outside in. So meet your own unmet needs. What does that look like? That looks like providing unconditional love for yourself. It means stop judging yourself today. That is a process. But to the degree that you judge yourself means that you don't have safety. And if you don't have safety, you're not going to feel supported, connected, like you are enough, seen, valued. So you want to set an intention. My days of self-judgment, self-loathing are over. Now that's going to be a journey, but you have dominion over that. You can practice that. You can practice inner connection. You can practice validating yourself. You can practice accepting yourself, feeling compassion for yourself. This is all within your dominion, because when these are met, then the need for the external drops. So when you feel loved, when you feel lovable, when you feel held and soothed from the inside out, when you feel like you are of value from the inside out because of who you are, when you can validate yourself, when you see yourself, when you accept yourself, when you have compassion for yourself, your need for the external drops away, falls away. There's nothing to fill up anymore. You filled it up with your own love, with your own acceptance, with your own compassion. You won't need food. You won't need a substance. You won't need shopping. You won't need yelling. You won't need projecting. There's no void. There's nothing to fill because you're filling it from the inside out. So I'm going to give you a few tools now. I say often on these episodes, find a photo of yourself from when you were around 5 years old, somewhere between 1 and 5, 0 and 5, 0 and 10, when you can look into your eyes and you can see your own innocence. And over time, you are saying to yourself every morning and every evening, I see you. I see your innocence. My intention is to connect with you, to remind you every day as often as I can that you're beautiful, that you're worthy, that you deserve all good things. I'm not here to judge you. I'm your biggest supporter. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm your biggest fan. You are safe in my heart. I am here for you. My heart is so much bigger than your painful feelings. Bring all of your painful feelings to me. I see you. My eyes light up when I look at this picture. I see who you are. I see what you've come here to bring. I see your gifts. Tell me all about it. Tell me about your hurts. Tell me about your pain. I want to know. I want to be here. I want to soothe. The more you can soothe the younger parts of yourself, to that degree, the need for outer external soothing diminishes, dissolves, sheds. I have tons of courses. If you're interested in a deeper dive, go to SuziLula.com. All of my courses, Healing the Heart of the Inner Child, Learning the Language of Self-Compassion, Worthy. I have so many courses around transforming yourself, transforming your relationships. All of these courses are going to help you learn how to mother yourself. When you know how to mother yourself, you place yourself in a consciousness of freedom. When you are loved, you are free. When you know you're lovable, you are free. When you are inwardly connected, you are free. And now, the last big piece around understanding and healing addiction has to do with knowing that you are a soul. You are a spiritual being. Why is this of paramount importance? Why is this of the utmost importance? So if addiction is seeking to ease your pain and fulfill your unmet needs through the external world, and addiction is thinking that you're separate and alone and something's wrong with you, then addiction is forgetting that you're actually a soul, a spiritual being having a human experience. You're a spiritual being that's on this earth, and you're going to experience messy and pain and intensity and darkness. And when you forget that you are a spiritual being and you experience painful emotions and painful experiences that life puts in all of our laps, you begin to think that you are alone, that you are cut off, that you are not connected to something that is greater and larger than yourself. And you feel like an island. And you feel like you are so alone and cut off. And when you feel that that is all you are, and that you are not connected to something that is greater and larger to yourself, you're going to reach to something outside of yourself to remind yourself that there's something greater and larger. It's why in the 12-step tradition, the second step I believe it is that we have come to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us. And so when you forget that you are connected to something greater, and when you lose access to that greater presence that can soothe you and can restore you, you will reach to something outside of yourself to restore you, to soothe you. Whether it's a candy bar, whether it's a new pair of shoes, whether it's sexting or texting or scrolling, you are going to look for something that is greater and larger than yourself to come in and save you. And as long as you feel disconnected, you'll stay addicted. To the degree that you feel disconnected is to the degree that you're going to experience addiction. You're going to look outside of yourself to fill that void. To the degree that you feel unloved and unlovable. And that is why your connection to your soul, the mothering presence, the spiritual part of you, that is why self-love, feeling loved, feeling lovable is a cornerstone of understanding and healing addiction. It sounds simplistic that love is the answer. It sounds simplistic that self-love is the answer. I'm here to tell you, sometimes the journey of real, true, lasting self-love is a journey, but it is the answer. When you have self-loathing, you're going to reach for something outside of yourself. When you have self-judgment, you're going to reach for something outside of yourself to soothe the pain of the judgment. When you have self-love, you restore yourself. When you have self-love, you restore yourself. When you have self-love, you have inner connection. When you have inner connection, you don't need to reach to anything outside of yourself. When you are connected, you have everything. It's why Nelson Mandela could sit in a prison cell. He was connected to something greater and larger than himself. He could soothe himself from the inside out. So he could sit in a prison cell and not feel imprisoned. When you have self-love, when you have inner connection, when you have that connection to something greater and larger, when you have that connection to your own mothering presence, to your own soul presence, to your own spiritual presence, you have everything. You have freedom. You don't need to reach for anything. You have it from the inside out. And trust me, for any of you who are parents, when your children are around you and they feel that you love yourself, you create an atmosphere and an environment for them to live in, to breathe in, to learn how to love themselves. And when your children learn to love themselves, it doesn't mean they won't go through hard times. My son went through a really hard time last year, a really dark time. But to the degree that they know that they can come to you and that they within them know how to love themselves, is to the degree that they won't need to reach to something outside of themselves. And lastly, and I will say most importantly, you are not meant to heal yourself alone. If you or anyone that you know is experiencing addiction, could be as small as a sugar addiction, as large as a substance addiction, you are not meant to suffer alone. You are not meant to heal alone. You can heal alone, but you're not meant to heal alone. Addiction in our culture evokes a feeling of shame. And your capitalistic society wants you to feel shame because it's going to keep you in the closet, and then it's going to keep you purchasing that next substance. And you're going to need more and more and more. Your culture wants you to feel shame about your addiction. I am telling you, reach out, speak it out, tell someone else. Reaching out and speaking about it is the greatest act of courage you will ever do to break your own addiction. Shame is so dangerous because shame keeps us isolated. Shame keeps you in a closet. Shame keeps your addiction in a closet. If you're a parent and your child is addicted to video games or addicted to a substance or addicted to anything, you're probably keeping it in the closet because you're judging yourself as a bad parent and you're afraid that some other parent is going to judge you as a bad parent. So this is how it gains power, because in our culture, addiction evokes shame, and shame evokes isolation. And when something is behind closed doors, when something is closeted, it creates power. It has more power over us when it's in the dark. So when you bring it out of the closet, already you are allowing that power to evaporate. So reach out. If you or someone you know is experiencing an addiction, reach out. Reaching out is the greatest act of courage. It's the first step in healing. As soon as you reach out, as soon as you speak it out loud, you're going to feel that dopamine. You're going to feel that serotonin. Your nervous system is going to calm down and be soothed. Maybe not forever, but to the degree that you're speaking to someone, you're going to experience yourself soothed because you're going to experience that connection. Even something as simple as a sugar addiction. I experience food addiction from time to time. Sometimes late at night, when I'm relaxing, when I'm letting go because I give a lot during the day, I can reach for something sweet to soothe a place that's given a lot, that feels empty, that is looking for something. And if I don't choose to mother myself, I'm going to choose something else that's sweet. And saying it out loud to all of you takes away an enormous part of its power. So speaking it out loud takes away its power. You are part of the solution if you connect with someone. So if you or someone you know is experiencing an addiction, please pass along this episode, pass it forward, recommend it to someone, share it with someone. If you are part of the solution, if you share it, if you are a safe space for someone, then someone else is going to feel less alone because of you, because of this episode, because you passed it along, because you referenced it, because you recommended it. Then this episode has been worth it. If you have received anything from this episode, please either pass it forward, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, help to get this word out, this message out, this process out of self-mothering and of healing our addictions in a world that is addicted to our addictions. So as a quick review, addiction is the inability to sit with our pain. And so therefore, addiction is the behavior of reaching externally to try to soothe something that hurts internally. When you learn how to mother your own unmet needs, to fulfill your own unmet needs through creating safety and speaking to yourself in a very compassionate way, of saying it's so understandable that you're hurting. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. What did you need? How can I bring it to you now? When you learn to meet your own unmet needs, you will not need to reach to something external to try to meet those needs. And lastly, you're not meant to heal alone. Please pass this episode forward, call someone, reach out to someone. And if you are someone who is learning how to mother yourself, reach out to someone that you know that might be in pain, that might feel shame, that might need or so appreciate a text, a phone call. I'm thinking of you. I'm here for you if you ever want to talk. Something that simple can be the difference of someone else suffering in silence or using you as their safety net until they learn how to create it inside of themselves. We are not meant to heal alone. Reach out to someone else, share this episode, write a review. I'll be so grateful. Get this message out, and I'll see you all next week. In the meantime, please give yourself permission to thrive this week. I love you all so much. Much love, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If there was something in this conversation that spoke to you, we'd so appreciate it if you would take the time to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with women and mothers you know, because you are here to thrive. See you next time.